Calculus! We're in AP Calculus still, self-check 6.4. So this is from 1998. This is number four. I can't speak right now. Find the slope. So that's pretty easy. You're just plugging in x equals 1. So this is x equals 1, y equals 4 into this guy to find the slope. So that's going to be 3 times 1 quantity squared plus 1 all over 2 times 4. And 3 plus 1 is 4. I don't know what happened there. 4 over 8. So the answer here is 1/2. How many points do we get for 1/2? Scroll up here. If you get 1/2, you get 1 point. So give yourself +1 if you got 1/2. And that was all out of 1 for part A. Part B is all out of 2 points. So right out of 2. Write an equation with a line tangent. So it's going to be that y minus y1 is equal to the slope here times x minus x1. And we know what goes in here. I don't know why I started using red. Let me change that. I want that to be in blue. All right, and then I can plug in things. I know that I'm plugging in 1 here. I'm plugging in 4. That was given to me. And I found the slope from the last step. Wow, I'm done. I found my equation. Do I get a point for the equation? Boom, 1 point right there, just for plugging in those values into that form. So +1 right away. And then I use it to approximate 1.2. So now I'm saying y minus 4 is equal to 1/2 of, now it's going to be 1.2 here. 1.2 minus 1. 1.2 minus 1 is 0.2. Half of 0.2 is 0.1. 0.1 plus 4, y is equal to 4.1, because I added 4 to both sides. There's my approximation. I don't even need to say if it's an under approximation or an over approximation. That came later in the years. So if you got...
Wait, so it's 0.2, right? 0.2, like 1.2 minus 1?
Yep, 0.2.
1/2 is basically 0.5, isn't it?
0.5 times 0.2, yeah.
So it'd be what?
So 0.5 times 0.2. You multiply those. You have to move the decimal twice. Yeah. Yeah, so it should be 0.1. And I normally don't think about it this way. I always think, what is half of 0.2? Well, just half of 0.2 is 0.1, because 0.1 plus 0.1 is 0.2. That's another way of getting there. So if you get y is equal to 4.1, give yourself another +1. And finally, we're doing the initial conditions, solving the differential equations. So we get y, we're on separate right now, by the way, separate. We're getting y dy is equal to 3x squared plus 1, all of that dx, and done. We separated the variables. Do we get a point already for separating the variables? Yay, we got a point just by cross multiplying. Yeah, the AP tests roughly get harder and harder every single year. So. Oh, thank you. Yeah, extra credit point. Log it. Should be 2y. Thank you. Good catch. And then we need to integrate.
And what's it called? 2y dy.
Yeah, 2y dy is equal to 3x squared plus 1 dx. And when I take the antiderivative, this is going to be 2y squared over 2, which just is y squared. If I simplify it, and that's going to be 3x to the power of 3 over 3, that crosses out to x cubed, plus x plus c. We probably just got 2 points from that, I would guess. So antiderivatives of dy term and dx term, so you actually get 1 for each side. Wow, that's super easy. So +1 right there, +1 right there, and +1 if you got your concept of integration. There's 3 points that you got right there just from the integrate step. And then we come over here to our evaluate, and then we plug in our values. Good job, girls. All right, so we get 4 squared is equal to all of this stuff. So it's going to be 1 cubed plus 1 plus c, which means 16 is equal to 2 plus c, which means c is equal to 14. In my class, you need to get c equals 14 to get +1. On the AP test, you just need to plug in that first line to get that 1 point. And that is your, yeah, just plug in y equals 4 and x equals 1. And then solving for y to get that isolate step. Oh, I went too far.
For the evaluate, the only reason that you say that you can only just leave it from the top because like not many people isolate.
Well, I say just do this step only just in case you make a math error. If you make a math error, they'll take that point back. Yeah. All right. And then isolate. This is the optional step. Step 4. And it's actually pretty easy for this question. It's just a square root function. So we'll have a y squared is equal to, I don't want a 3, that's x cubed plus x, and then plus c, which is now 14. Take the square root of both sides. And when I take the square root of both sides, I get y is equal to plus or minus the square root of x cubed plus x plus 14. That should be a cube right there. And I need to decide if it's plus or minus, and we can do mental math here. I know that y is going to be 4. Y should be 4, and I'm plugging in 1 into each of these. 1 plus 1 plus 14 is 16. Square root of 16 is 4. So then I have 4 is equal to plus or minus 4. Well, it's obviously the plus. So get rid of the minus, and you get yourself another plus 1. And that question was out of 5 points. Out of 5 points. And you'll notice that we did skip part D because, part D down here because we won't ever see that in the AP test. If you need to plug in your value 1.2, then you plug it into that isolated version and then you'll get the point. But obviously we don't have that, so that means our total is out of 8. And by the way, the one on the tests, I don't think the tests, I kind of mix and mash them from like 1998 and then like 2001. So the answer key for me is a little bit different, but it definitely, some of the questions won't be out of 9. This is an example. This one was not out of 9, it's out of 8. How many points did you get out of 8, Rochelle? Oh my gosh.
I would have gotten 8 for that 0.5 times 8.
You are, yeah, you're killing it. You're on it. Arrow, what are you getting?
No points again.
No points. What happened again?
You messed up the directions again.
What type of messing up directions?
I thought that the 3x squared plus 1 over 2y was y and not y prime. And then
Yeah, that'll mess up the whole problem. Dang, okay. Yeah, just take your time. I think that's the strategy. Yeah, so the slope is. Yeah. All right, Ben, what'd you get? 8. Very, very nice. Yeah, okay. And that concludes self-check 6.4.